All right, we're going to take a look at lesson 2.8 from our geometry book. Slope and equations of lines as far as it goes for this particular section of geometry. You actually have done this in Algebra 1, so this should all be a version of review. You should have done all of these things in Algebra 1. The first thing to note is that we have a slope formula down here. This is something that you'll need to know, okay? It's given to you in 3 different versions: change in y, change in x, rise, run, and then this down here at the end. These first 2 are just to help you think about what slope it actually is. The run, the change in the x, and the rise, the change in the y, is what goes right there, okay? And so we're talking about how this line is, well, sloped, right? What's the slant of this line? And so the numbers, the rise and the run, tell us some things about how that line is sloped, okay? Like I said, these are things that you should know from Algebra 1. This particular version of the equation right here, equals slope, is one that you absolutely need to know how to do for the problems that we're dealing with today, okay? So if you don't have that written down anywhere, you need to write that down. I would recommend memorizing it, but that's what we need to work with, and let's talk about how we can use it. So this one here, find the slope of each line. There's a couple ways that you can do this. One way is just by looking at the rise and the run. Okay, it's rise over run. So if I'm going from this point to this point, and I say, what's the rise? I'm talking about how many units it's going up. So to get from the J to the K, see, the rise will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 5. And then the run, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if we do rise over run for this slope, the rise being a positive 5, the run being a positive 4, that would be my slope for this line. The other way that we could have done this is by actually figuring out what these points are and going that route. Point J is -1, -2. K is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 3. And so we could do this way, and we could say, okay, well, let's talk about what these points are. The second point in each is a y, so I'm going to call this my first y and this my second y. And this is my first x and my second x. So we could do that other formula, right? The other formula for slope, x2 minus x1 was down here in the numerator, y2 minus y1. And that was the other equation that we had. And so if we do this equation to find slope, it's going to look like this. Y2 minus y1 minus a -2, and then x2, 3, minus a -1. So y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. And then we go, okay, so what's this going to be? 3 minus a -2 would be like 3 plus 2. 3 minus a -1 would be like 3 plus 1. 3 plus 2 is 5. 3 plus 1 is 4. We get the same answer if we're doing this. Okay? So this is the basic idea of how to find slope when you're working with these equations, when you're working with an actual line, when you're working with 2 points. This is how you're going to find slope, and this ends part 1 of our lesson.